Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Lucky Stones. I'm Chris, and today we're going to be going fossil hunting in Newhaven. We're just along the, I think it's West Sussex still. We're going to be hunting in the chalk, seeing if we can find some echinoids. We're in the Cretaceous, and the car park is just behind me, about 300 or 400 metres, and ahead of me, switch that round, and we've got the cliffs there, which we'll be staying away from. Got my mates Sam and Nikki over there, who are going to be showing me what to do, because this is my first time here, and I'll check in with you when we get to where the fossils are. See you in a bit. It's a fantastically warm day. It's the hottest day of the year so far. Got a couple of people sunbathing, which I was doing yesterday when I was out at Lee. Got myself a little bit sunburned, so I've piled on the sun cream today. And I think we've got to go round the corner to get to the good bits. So I'll check in with you once we've walked along the pebbles for a bit. Well, it's not one that we're going to be excavating, but we've got our first echinoid in the cliff, in the chalk here. It's an upside down one, so that's the base of it there. And in life, that bit would have been on the top. This is only half of it, it's been sliced through, so we won't be collecting that. But they're really quite pretty, and hopefully we'll find a more complete one shortly. And I'm reliably informed by Sam that this guy is called Echinoids, so hopefully we'll find a nice one to show you later. And we've got another little one here, just a little part of a shell of an echinoid, another Echinoids, and we can see the little ambulacrum here, which is where the spines would have been attached. Don't know if you can see that, I have taken a photo. But yeah, that's not one that we'll excavate, because that's just as a very broken piece. We've got our first sort of echinoid preserved in flint. We can see the three of the ambulacrums there. Nice find by Sam. A little bit beach worn, but yay, first echinoid. And we've got another half of Echinoids there. Again, probably won't be picking this one out because we want the complete ones as opposed to the half-a ones. But that might change if the day carries on and we don't find anything good. We'll see if we can find a half-a one to clean up and show you what they look like when they're out of the chalk. Well, Nikki's had a little bit of luck. She's found a flint preserved Echinoids. So you can see the flat bottom there and then the dome-shaped head. It's been rolled around on the beach for quite a while, but it's definitely an echinoid. That's a nice little find. I'll give that back to her now. Well, I think we found the first one that we're going to have a little dig out of to see if it's any good. It's this little round thing here. There's a chance it's complete. So I'm going to get my hammer out, have a bit of a bash and see how we get on. I will show you in a minute. Well, this little critter here is definitely a sponge. You see the little hole down at the bottom there. That's where it would have been attached to the seabed in life. We'll just give that one a little bash and see what that looks like as well. Well, Nikki, who we love to call Echinoid, is a huge fan of echinoids, and if there's one on the beach, she's going to spot it. And that's exactly what she's got here. It's a beautiful little one. Lovely preservation on that. Well, we've got another half of one, but I think I might give this one a bash, see if the other half of it is nicely well preserved. So I'll get my hammer out again and show you what it looks like. Well, this one was actually right next to it, and the chalk sort of comes away fairly easily, and this has got quite a nice half of preservation there. So let's see if we can break a little bit more of the chalk off, show you the bottom there, and I'll just get rid of the rest of that chalk and we'll see if we can see any of the spine marks, the ambulacrum. Well, unfortunately that one that I showed you a minute ago was really very brittle, and as I tried to get it to pop out of the clay, I keep calling it that, it's chalk, it's white, it's unfortunately broken up into quite a few pieces. So unfortunately that one is not going to be able to come home with us. But on to the next one. Well, we're at another chalk boulder, and we've got a half of one down here that I'm going to see if we can excavate and see what it's like. But I suspect, if I'm really lucky, that this one here might actually be complete. So I'm going to spend a few minutes carefully excavating it. Hopefully it's not as brittle as the last one, and I can maybe even get a whole one out. Fingers crossed. Well, it's looking pretty good. I've started hacking at it a little bit, and going to have to take quite a lot of care with this one because it does appear to be complete. So I'll check in with you in a couple of minutes and see how we get on. Well, it's out and it's ever so nearly complete. We're just missing a tiny little bit off this side here, which is that bit there. So we might be able to stick that back on. Still not going to be 100%, but that's the most complete one I've found so far. Really pleased with that. That's coming home with me. Well, this half of one turned out to be well worth ticking on, because it's actually a bit more than half, and we can see some of the anatomical features of it. These things would go along on the seabed and they would eat whatever there was coming along, and they'd go like that. And I don't know if you can see, well, that hole there at the back, that's its bum, and there's a slight little dim print there, which is its mouth. So we've got the bottom of the echinoid is complete and in lovely condition, and yeah, you can see an echinoid's mouth and an echinoid's arse. So, well, we've got another little fragment of echinoid. I did give it a pop to see if it was a bit more substantial than it is, and well, it's probably not coming home with us. I don't know if you can see the little dots on there. I'll get a picture of it as well. But yeah, that's the spine attachments which it used to walk on the bottom, so that would have been the bottom of it, and it would have walked along like that. Well, we're going to be hitting these couple here. Certainly the bottom one looks like it might have a bit of potential, and then there's another half of one just next to the hammer there, and then there's another half of one up here. And so this block's got quite a lot in them. Unfortunately, they've all been slightly eroded, so it won't be a complete one from here, but that's to say, that bottom one looks like it might be quite substantial, so we'll hit that with a hammer in a sec. Well, it only took a couple of minutes, and all three of the four, I should say. The one over here by the hammer, I think I will leave that one there. I don't think that's got too much potential. But these three, mostly fragments, but they popped out quite nicely, and the chalk comes off them fairly easily, so I should be able to give them a clean up at home. Maybe able to see some of the features, but still they're quite nice. Well, I've got a very nearly complete one. It's a little bit smaller than the last one, but we've got the arse there, the anus, and then we've got the mouth up here, and it's still got a little bit of chalk on it, but it's almost got the whole of the test, which is the name of the shell of an echinoid. Just missing that little bit down there, but yeah, quite pleased with that one. That should clean up really quite nicely, because the chalk is very friable and comes off fairly easily, but I'll clean the rest of that up at home. Well, on this beach there are thousands and thousands of limpets, and when they're not stuck to the rocks, they will be eating the algae and using their teeth and scraping little bits off and leaving little tracks like that. So they're quite fun to find. A little bit of modern marine history. And quick correction, the rocks here are about 106 million years old or thereabouts, so a little bit older than I thought. And we are in East Sussex, not West Sussex. Well, as well as the echinoids that you can find, Sam's just found a rather beautiful micrasta. So let me see if I can get a decent shot of that without my shadow in there. Yeah, it's really rather lovely, virtually complete, and that little bit of chalk should pop off nicely, and I'm sure she'll be popping up a lovely picture of it on Instagram at some point. Well, we're just on our way back now. We've finished with the chalk boulders, and we're just having a look through the pebbles to see if we can find anything nice. And I have just found a little echinoid in the flint. It's this thing here. It's fairly beach rolled, but you can probably see the lines on it, which is the ambulacrum where the spines were, and it's complete. So get that in the sun. Quite pleased with that. This will probably be the last clip of the video, unless I see something else pretty cool in the shingle. We've got the car park just about, I don't know, half a mile that way, and it's been an absolutely cracking day. I've had loads of fun, but really boiling, so unless we find something really cool, then I will show you the finds when I get home, and on we go. Right, take it easy. Well, we're back home now. We've cleaned a little bit of the chalk off the echinoids, and time to do a little quick wrap up of what we found while we were at Newhaven. These are the highlights. Firstly, we've got this echinocoris. This is the just the top of one, but that's quite nicely preserved, and I've got a couple of close-up photos showing a little bit more detail. This one is a classic little segment through. You can see the little green where that's all that was left of it. But this side's really quite pretty. Now these last two, this one here, underneath here, that's where the guy's mouth was. And it's a near complete one. A little bit more cleaning up to do, but that's a guy with its mouth. And that bit there, even though it's a little bit crushed, that's its arse where it obviously deposited what it finished eating. And this one is an even better example of the back end of an echinocoris. And that hole there. And also we can see very well preserved. We've got the ambulacrums here, here, here. And these ones aren't quite as well preserved, but you can just make out that one there. And so this is the most complete one we found. Unfortunately, this little bit here did break away, so I wasn't able to glue the last bit in, but still very pleased with that. And this last little one here is incredibly battered. It's been rolled around on the beach for a very long time. Can't really tell what type of species it is, but it's definitely an echinoid of some description, and that's been preserved in flint as opposed to these ones which were preserved in chalk. So always nice to find an echinoid. Well, that brings us to a close, so I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you did, come and join me next time. Take care, bye.